Okay, today, Friday, May 26th, 2023, I, Pat McKinley, am interviewing Robert Martinez at the Rocky Mountain Regional VA Medical Center in Aurora, Colorado. Welcome today, Robert. We're going to go into some questions here. Tell us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up.
My name is Robert Martinez. Most family and friends call me Roberto, but my real name is Robert Richard Martinez. I'm my DD 214.
Okay.
And so I grew up in the San Luis Valley. I was born in Martinez, in Colorado, I'm a draftee. You know, I got the letter that says you're cordially invited, signed by the president. But I didn't resist it, even though I wanted to, because my family have all been military, all the way going back to my grandfather. So 4 generations of us have been military, and so that's why I didn't resist it. And that's why I wanted to go. And at the time it was not a nice thing to do. Matter of fact, a lot of people chose not to go. And that's one of the reasons I'm here for posterity, so that people can know, people in the future can know, the future generations, why this happened and what happened and the aftermath of it and all of that. And that's why I'm here.
Good. And you were telling me a little bit earlier about was it your grandfather and your uncle that had served, and there was a monument?
Yeah, there's in Romeo, Colorado, which there's a big monument. It's been ever since I've been alive. The monument has been there, and it thanks all the people that from that area that served your country. Right? And my grandfather's name there, my uncle's name is there. Right?
Okay.
And so and I mean, it's got the flags there, and the memorial's been there for God. When I'm 73 years old, and every time I pass, it's still been there.
Is that near Alamosa?
It's basically maybe 30 miles from Alamosa.
Okay.
Because you go from Alamosa to La Jara, then Romeo, then Antonito, and then any further you're in New Mexico.
All right. Oh, great. So what branch of the military did you enter?
I was U.S. Army, I think, right this guy.
Right on your hat there.
Yeah, so I was U.S. Army, and I was a 2-year guy, and I want to talk about that too, because this is the way it happened to me. I got my draft card, right, and then they called me for examination, and the physical and all that. And that happened. It didn't happen, and I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it didn't happen there. It happened in LA at the federal building in LA, right? And so I went over there, and they did all that, right? And it took, for most guys, it took a day and a half. For me, it only took. I was out of there by 10:30. When at 8 o'clock I was out, and I passed every station, and they check you good. They do everything. They do good. And so anyway, they told me you'll probably get your draft notice within a couple of months. So I went home all prepared for it, and then never came. 2 years went by. I thought they forgot about it, right? So one day I lost my wallet with my billfold with all my ID. So being a good guy, I went and got a new draft card. Right? And that's when I got the letter. You're cordially invited. Or instead of a new draft card, I got drafted. Right. So that was the best hap, right? I went to training in California, Fort Ord, California, because at that time there was a bad thing going on in California. Fort Ord, there was a spinal meningitis episode that was happening, killing some GIs, right? So you had to sleep with the windows open like this, and it was in the fall, so it got a little cold, a little chill, right? And you have to, you're sleeping in the bag, so you got a bunk bed, so you had to, one's on top, one's on the bottom, you have to put a sneeze sheet so you don't, and sleep opposite the other guy so you don't breathe on. because they don't want to spread that shit around.
Right.
Of course, they inoculate you and all that, but still, they want to be super careful. Right?
Absolutely. This was the fall of what year?
Yeah, this was in fall of 1969.
69.
69.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I was going to training there, right? And so anyway, I went through all of that, and I forget what company I was in, but anyway, when I got through with that, everybody that was in my company, they all got ordered. They got a little furlough, and they all got orders to go to Vietnam. Me and another guy, they didn't have an order for.
So that would have been early,
That was in the fall. That was still in the fall of '69.
still is fall of
Yeah.
69.
So anyway, so they said, go home for a couple of weeks, come back, we'll have orders for you. So I did come back, and they had orders for Fort Riley, Kansas.
Hmm.
You know, so I didn't go to Vietnam with everybody else. I
Wow.
went to Fort Riley, Kansas, and I'm an infantry trained 11 Bravo, right? And they don't need any 11 Bravo guys. You know, they're coming back every day from Vietnam after having served their tour, and they got, you know, and 90 days to 6 months left of their whatever, and then they get out, right?
Hmm.
And what do they need me there for? So they don't. So they send me to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to go to track vehicle training and Jeep mechanic. Right? So I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and trained for that. Then I came back and I went to came back to Fort Ord, and they sent me to Germany for war games. Reforger 1 it was called, right? And they wanted to see how fast they could get an infantry ready division to Germany in the case of they did it. And all that was a big drunken party. I even went AWOL but I'm legitimate. You know? I went AWOL for like about 3 days, but I took care of it before I left. As far as my company knew, I was in a legitimate leave, right? But I paid somebody, don't turn this report in until I come back, right?
I see.
Yeah. So I mean, there's ways to do things, right? And so me and another guy would somebody that knew Germany like the back of his hand, because he was raised here with his father being a career soldier, right? So we went all over Vietnam and then when the time was up, we just went back and joined up our unit, right?
Hmm.
And nobody was wiser, you know, or anything. So I had a great time, you know. And got to see Germany, and I got to see a lot about what happened in Germany during World War II, you know, which they don't teach you that in school. Or at least
No,
they didn't teach me that,
no.
you know. And,
So did you get to some of the concentration camps and that sort of
I
thing?
got to see some stuff like that and shit this because we went. That was one of our things that we did. We landed in Frankfurt, Germany, picked up some Jeeps and we went all over the country, and then came back, boarded some planes, and came home. Right, and so it was a great experience. You know, I got to say. And then you know, now I got less than a year left of my or not enlistment, but my time in service, and I'm trying to get out. You know, because they'd let you put in for an early out if you went to school. So I applied to school
I see.
to get an early out, put in all the paperwork, and that's when I came down in allocation to go to Vietnam, not as a mechanic, but as an infantry guy.
Oh my.
Yeah, you know, so I went to Vietnam. I only had 10 months left of the service when I went to Vietnam, and of course I wound up with this guy. So.
That's a very intense 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I did everything for a 2-year guy. I went all over the place. I did all kinds of stuff, right? And my sister just volunteering here right now. She was in 20 years, and she was and retired, right? And it seemed like I had just as much experience as she did going every place, and I was only in 2 years, and I was a drafted. So it's funny, you know. But I mean, I didn't ask for that. This is, you know, you just do what they tell you, you know. And you know, so I got to go to Vietnam, you know, and be in the infantry, you know, and in our corps, which was, you know, about maybe about 200 kilometers from the DMZ and about maybe 5 kilometers from the Malaysian border where the Ho Chi Minh Trail came through, right?
Mm.
And I mean, bad deal, you know, and it was weird when I got there. I'm telling you, these guys who were already there, they looked like they had just escaped from a mental ward somewhere. Yeah, they're all wild, they're wild here. And then I'm saying, oh God, what did I get into?
Hmm.
But a couple of months you look just like them, you act just like them. So that's what happens. And the shit you do though, or that I did, and my unit did, it was horrific to say the least. One of my field sergeants, he died right in my arms. He bled to death. He was shot by a sniper, right? And we couldn't get him out because we were in this big ravine, and there was no way to get him out. Right? So he just died right there in my arms. Well, the medic tried to do something for him, but it was useless. Right?
Oh, so you were evacuated with helicopters eventually?
Yeah, so, and that was the least of it, and some of the other stuff we did, was just as horrific. Because while with our stuff, whether they're in pieces, whatever they were sent back. Their stuff, if they're in pieces and stuff, we just burn them in place. That's what we had to do. That was SOP. Maybe that's not a good thing to say. Maybe it's against the Geneva Conventions, but that's what they did. Ran them up, like gather them up like firewood, put some petrol on them, and burn them up.
Oh.
Because and you can't identify them. Most of them were in pieces, right? Especially there at the rock pile, which is where Quezon. It was the top of the rock pile. That's where they had that fire base, right? That the Marines manned it before we did, but then when they left, 101st went in and took over. And so that was not a good place to and they dropped 33 million gallons of Agent Orange in that area, according to the statistics, And the first, my field sergeant Thomas Shepard, that was his name, and he was a career soldier. He was at the time he was there about he'd been in maybe about 7 years or something, right? And when that happened to him.
Wow.
And the other guy that died was accidental, and his name was Fiddler, Gary Fiddler, and he's one of the first guys when I first got there that really went out of his way to show me the ropes, because a lot of guys would not tell you anything or give you any pointers or anything until you proved yourself in the field. Once you proved yourself, then everybody's willing to help you. But until you did, because they figure you were a liability.
Oh, I see. Wow.
You're going to get them killed.
Right.
So, but Gary was the guy that helped me, and then he had an accident right there at the rock pile too, right there at Kishon. He a big boulder. He was standing on top of this big boulder, and I said, "Look, doing something." I don't know what he was doing exactly, but it rolled off. And he fell over, and before he got out of the way, he smashed it.
Oh.
And
Wow.
so he's another guy in my unit that died. So he's 3 guys I know that are on the wall. And the other guy was my high school buddy that I went to high school from Alamosa. And he got drafted out of high school, and he was there like 1 month, and he got killed by a sniper.
Oh, sniper. Wow.
In Eladio.
Were you awarded any medals or citations during your service?
Just the usual stuff, nothing, I just, like I said, I wasn't really a hero of any kind other than I did my job, and I did what I was told. Right? And I could have got a Purple Heart, but I refused it because I figured I just got a little scrape on my ass from a little shrapnel. And that was the LT's fault that I had at the time, because what you're supposed to do when you go out in an operation, most of the big operation I went to was Lance on 719. And that was, when you go on an operation, they give you a call sign for every day. And they give you a 8-digit coordinates that you're supposed to change every day. You don't stay at it. And so you have, that's standard procedure, right? Well, this lieutenant didn't change it. We stayed in the same place for 3 days, but he called it in like we changed. And then all of a sudden, every time you move, the night, what they call the night hawks, which is the big gunships would come out at night, and they would shoot around that area, because nobody friendly's supposed to be down there.
Mm.
But see, this guy, so he started shooting at us, right? And all of a sudden we got a call, hey, friendly's down here, please. Right? And I got a little trouble in mind, but it wasn't like anything that was really bad. And being the good guy that I thought I was at the time, if it happened today, I'd say, yeah, give me 2 Purple Hearts. But at that time, I said, what's just a little scratch on my butt, big deal. I didn't even, the medic just kind of patched it up real quick, and I didn't bleed out or anything, so it was bad or anything. So, but I was just trying to get home back. And the funny thing, another funny thing that happened, my ETS day got what is that? ETS expired time in service or something is what it stands for. And you come home and do your ETS date, right? And I went like 4 days past my ETS date because they were bombing and denying they were bombing the tarmac. And all this airlines are coming, they're civilian subsidized by the government, right? So they're not going to come in if there's any bad shit going on. They're not going to come in. So they got like 3 days or more of GIs that are supposed to have gone home. They're still there. They can't even feed them. You see rations and herbs like if you're out in the field. And I'm sleeping under one of those
tarp or something like
that. It's like, I don't know what you call it. And there was sandbags, right? And that's where I'm saying they can't even put you up to a place to sleep, or they can't feed you. And I'm just thinking, can I get on that Freedom Bird is what they called it, right? Get the airplane and come home. And finally it happened. Finally it was able to come home.
Wow.
So and I want to talk about this. I was talking about. I got to Vietnam at shortly after midnight, and there was a slight rain going on, right? And 92nd or 91st replacement, and got there, and I happened to first thing to do, you got to go to administration and show them your papers, right? Stuff that you. And happened to know a guy that worked there because I served with him in the States someplace. And he says, oh, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, I will tell you something. He says, I don't want you to, you're going to go to the barracks now. And in the morning at 5 o'clock, you're going to make a formation. Don't make the formation because all you're going to do is you're going to do some shit details and you're not going to fucking ship out for at least 3 days. So stay in touch with me. Don't make the formation. And I'll let you know when you start making the formations. I said, Jesus, it's not good advice or not. Someone get in trouble. I don't want, but as much as I didn't want to, I did it just like this. What happened? 2 cadre, that means people that work there, right? That are in charge.
Right.
And 2 or 3 newbies got killed that morning in that formation.
Oh, my.
So that could have been me if I went up there. So it was a good thing I didn't go, and I didn't go for 2 days. And then told me, start making the formation because you'll be shipping operation.
Wow.
So I just lucky, and that's what I'm saying. Everything I've ever done, it seemed like I'll mess up, but I always come out smelling like a rose. even when I went to work 50 years as a bartender in Las Vegas, right, Nevada, and I wasn't looking for that job. It just fell in my lap.
Wow.
It happened to be a union job. It paid good. Had a good benefits. Paid a month vacation, and I'm making anywhere from $600 to $1,500 a week on tips, sometimes more.
Wow. Good.
Plus my wages. And all those things just kind of happen to me, and I always come out smelling good, So I don't like to complain about things, even though I do, because I'm kind of hard-headed, and I'm so used to being by myself. And so Vietnam was quite a learning experience, and I want to talk about the aftermath, because that was pretty bad,
This was after you were out of the military?
Because that needs to be said, because, you know, a lot of guys went to Canada, as, you know, as everybody
Right.
else knows, you know, the script, right?
Right.
And God bless him, Jimmy Carter, he forgave them all later and said, yeah, you can come back, no problems. No, and but guys like me that were, even the VFW frowned at us, right? I tried to join the VFW because excuse my language, I'm come on, a half-assed musician, have been all my life, school trained and everything, but I never pursued it. So I had a friend that played in the band at the VFW, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, well, I'll go and join the VFW, you know, right? And they kind of turned me away. Said, you guys weren't even in a war, you know, because it was all run by World War II guys at the time.
Oh.
See, they kind of frowned on us, right?
Oh.
So I said, well, you know what? I don't need you.
Wow.
Now I belong to the VFW today. I joined later, you know, and
Now most of your colleagues are from Vietnam or
yeah, but
Germany
not
or something
everybody
like
that
that.
runs the VFW are usually Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a World War II veteran because there's not many of those guys.
No.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. The aftermath was just as bad. You know, I never talked about the things I did or the things that happened or the things that I witnessed. I never talked about any of that stuff until I was out about 10 years. Right. So that was around 1978, 79. And then finally, and I met a guy, and he was one of my customers, you know, as a bartender, right? He was one of my customers, and he was reading this little book about the My Lai massacre. So I said, yeah, I've heard about that, you know. And we started talking, you know, and we became friends, and it turned out that we had a lot of things in common. And I was able to open up. And then I went to go see the wall, you know. And I didn't go to go see the real one, but they had a traveling wall. It used to travel the country.
Correct.
And when it came by, I went to go see it. Like I said, I know 3 names on there. 2 that I actually served with, and the other one was my high school buddy, right? That was my ex-wife's boyfriend before I met her. I should have let her. I should have let him keep her. But hey, you know, hindsight is better than foresight. And anyway, so you know, it's like the aftermath. You know, it's like a lot of people don't know this. You know, about how bad they were treated. You know, and it's on. What was it in 2018? They made the Vietnam Veterans Day and made it a national holiday. So 2018 from 19 when it was officially over in 1973. How many years is that?
30, over 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, and
40
after
years.
30 some years, they're
40.
going to give you some accolades. You know, what about the rest of the time?
No, you're right. The
You know,
veterans.
so you know, and people don't know this, especially millennials. And I'm not picking on millennials. I'm not sure what the next generation after millennials are, but you know, it's like they don't know these things. You know.
No, and
And
I saw that. I saw that here, the veterans coming back, friends of mine,
yeah.
and it was such an unpopular war with the public that they didn't treat you guys right.
Yeah. See, and so guys didn't talk about it, you know, and just got to. I belong to that group that I told you my friend ran it, and I can't remember his name now. But he was in my sister unit in Vietnam, and he was a paraplegic because he lost his leg, right? And thank God for that group, because that kind of saved me in my sanity, you know, because I was, you know, you can go nuts. You know, I get part of the disability I get is for PTSD and hypertension in my leg that they messed up, right? And so all that happened in service. It didn't happen in civilian life, or it didn't happen after service. It happened in the service.
So these are experiences from that affected your life since the war.
Yeah.
And have been hard for you to deal with in
Well,
some of the
I'm dealing with it
PTSD.
as best as I can, you know, I don't, you know, I can be kind of a hot-headed, you know, and have been, you know, like I got into with my brother-in-law this morning because he made a comment about my grandfather not serving in World War I. I said, what the fuck? And I had to show him a picture. See right here, there it says he served in World War I. What the fuck's wrong with you? You know, and you know, so wait, because he knows how I am. And you know, and I mean, not that you know, my grandfather was my grandfather, you know, but like I said, that's why I didn't object to being drafted. I could have.
Right,
Everybody else was,
right.
but my family has been military for 4 generations. Why am I going to bow out now? Right? It's not in me.
No,
You know, it's not in me to buy out. You know, and in a country, right or wrong, you know, you go anywhere. Right? And I mean, I'm according to my DNA, I'm half native anyway. You know, my grandfather was more. He was from Mescalero Apache from New Mexico. And so I'm, according to my DNA, I'm 48% Native American.
48.
Yeah, so you know, so it's my country, you know. So I'm going to do what I can to make it as, you know. I think we're in a bad mess right now, but hey, I can't do anything about it. You know,
No.
hopefully it'll get better. You know.
Well, I think that hopefully your experiences you can tell the younger generations
Yeah.
about, because like you said, they don't hear about that in school.
They don't
And
teach that, no.
they don't. So they think that a lot of the sacrifices that were made, like men like yourself, they're not aware of the freedom that they have in this country due to people
Yeah.
like you that serve. So,
That's why you can go vote, and that's why you can speak your mind, and that's why they have the freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and freedom of all that stuff, right?
right, right.
And that's why they have the Second Amendment, and you know, all. Yeah, well, I'm sure people trying to kill that one, but you know.
Right. Well, we're hoping, like I said, that these interviews will help.
I mean, I've only owned one gun in my whole life, and I bought it for as a gift for somebody else.
Mm,
Right? And but if you want to own a tank, I don't have any problem.
right, right. So if there's something that you could share with the current generation, how can you express that so the interview would be there to tell them what you're thinking? You want them to know about your experience and how that has changed you in a manner that you want to share with them.
I'll preface
Comment. Yeah.
with this statement that I don't, and I'm not a Christian, you know, I'm Indian, so I believe different. So I'm not a Christian, but I'm going to quote something in the Bible. It says, you know, there'll always be wars and rumors of wars. That's I got out of the Christian Bible, out of the King James Version, I don't know which one. But it does say that, you know, there'll always be wars and rumors of wars. Right? And that's what I'm going to say. Is there always going to be a war going on somewhere? Ever since mankind has been around, there's been wars. And so, you know, take heed, because, you know, that's never going to go away as long as there's people on this earth. I think that's my view. And but they're really unnecessary if we would learn to get along, you know, and not have all this, you know, I'm right and you're wrong, and we're better, you know, and the class distinctions, right? And that's what separates us as class distinctions, you know. The have and the have-nots, you know, and they're always going to be that too, you know. And the people that have the money are going to make the rules. It's not the little guy like me, you know. Just like right now, they're thinking of cutting out Social Security, and they're thinking of cutting out VA benefits. You know, give me a break. We earned those things. It wasn't like they were free. They weren't given to me. I had to go and put my life on the line doing that shit.
Right. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, realize that, you know, realize those kind of things, you know, and maybe someday there won't be any wars, you know, but I don't know. You know, we can't predict the future. I certainly can't. Right? And for me, personally, Vietnam was a great learning experience, you know, and this whole deal was a great learning experience, you know. I don't know how much longer I'll live or anything. I just having heart problems, and now they're okay according to my cardiologist. You know, I'm going to have to go on out, aspirin regimen for a while, you know, so that, you know, but they looked at it yesterday, or when was it, on the 25th, and everything was, you know, aces up, you know, so, you know, I'm just glad that I'm trying to deal with the problems that I have now, medical mostly, right? And, you know, and Vietnam, and my experience in Vietnam, and the totality of my total experience, which, you know, I'll never be rid of the PTSD, and I'll never be able to get those thoughts out of my mind, and I'll never be able to, but I can live with them, you know, yeah, I had to kill people or they would kill me,
Mm.
you know, and I don't blame them, and, you know, because they're just doing the same thing I was doing,
Right,
doing what they were told,
right.
right? And so, you know, I don't have no qualms about it. I was going to retire and go to Vietnam when I was 62. And I figured between my Social Security and my pension from my job, that I could live pretty good over there,
Mm.
right? And there was a lot of GIs that went over there, that had served there and started up American businesses. You know, a lot of these guys had some money, right? And they went over there, and I said, well, that'd be a good place for me to go. But after I explored it, I said, you know, I don't know, I can't do this. I didn't like it here the first time. What thing makes me think I'm going to like it here the second time? So I decided not to do it. And I'm glad I did, you know, and
Yeah,
I don't know, I just, in totality, it's, for me, it was a good experience. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but I'm living now. As a matter of fact, I haven't moved in it yet, but I already secured it. It's not far from here. It's called and the only veterans live there.
oh,
You know, it's an apartment building. And it's only veterans that are allowed there, right? You got to be 62 years old or more, and then it's all veterans, right?
yeah,
And so I haven't met a veteran I don't like, you know. So I'll say that veterans are pretty good guys, you know, because they've been through the thing, and they know what it is.
yeah,
Whether it's Afghanistan or Iraq or Vietnam, or, you know, or even some of the World War II guys, because there's not very many of those guys left.
no, no. Roberto, as we finish up the interview, is there anything that we haven't covered, or something that you'd like
Oh,
to finish with?
I'm sure there is, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I can't think of it right now. I was telling him, matter of fact, I do have a tape that I made in Vietnam. Right before I went on R&R in Bangkok, right? I was on the stand back in the company area at Camp Evans. And me and this friend of mine, which I'm still friends with, you know, one of the guys I served with. And I made this statement, me and him both made this statement, where we talked about what we were going through then and how we felt and what we would change if we could, and blah, blah, blah. Right? So it's a very interesting little tape, you know, but I was going to bring it, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
The two of you. Well, I guess we'll finish up here if you're comfortable with that, and we really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. It's been excellent. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, I hope you guys liked it.
Yes.
I don't know if I was any different than anybody else. I mean, you know,
Everyone's unique, Roberto. Everyone is unique, and that's what we were trying to show and share with others.
I just wanted to make sure that for posterity that somebody else gets an idea of what was going on. And I don't know the whole ins and outs about it. You know, there was a lot of like we shouldn't have even been there. We saw the Bay of Pigs, or not the Bay of Pigs, what was it called? The incident that supposedly happened that really didn't happen, but they lied about it. Right?
Oh,
I forget what that.
okay.
Somebody shot torpedoes at us, which actually didn't happen.
Well, thank you very much. We
Okay.
really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay.
As an Indian, the good spirits be with you.
Yeah, I hope so. It's called, what do they call that? Walking the red road, which
Mm.
means living your life with purpose, toward a path, toward a good path, toward a good path. That's what it means.
Yeah, well, my wife is half Indian. She's Choctaw, which is part of the Cherokee.
Yeah, old Cherokee, yeah.
So I appreciate your lineage very much.
Okay.